guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to do an update to a video I did about a week ago, which was titled 57-year-old widower gets back on the dating horse, teaches new girlfriend she can't whip him for long. And guys, as a recap, that's about the guy. His wife of 30 years had died recently, and he had a very good marriage, which, God bless him, I'm glad he had. He has kids, now a grandkid on the way, and he's essentially starting over. Lost some weight, back on the workout program. He's retired because he did very well in life. And he's gotten back on the horse of dating because that's what he wanted to do. And in the story, he met some chick who is early 40s and a lawyer, does extremely well for herself. Met her at a party and they started dating. And unfortunately, early on, because he's new to all this, it's been decades since he dated, he got a little whipped initially. And did things on her terms, and she had all these ridiculous terms and conditions she wanted for the relationship with him, and jumping into a relationship immediately. But real quick, you all recall, he obviously learned that this is not working out for me, and started, pretty much saying no to her BS. And it ended with him pretty much saying, "I'm going on a cruise," her throwing a tantrum over that, and him just kind of walking away, with her just showing up and trying to, have her way with him. And it ended with that. And I had a lot to say about how he made some mistakes getting involved with her so quickly, going into a relationship. But he was wondering if he went on this cruise, thinking he might meet some women and all that, wondering if he's messing things up by going on the cruise, maybe meeting some chicks, or he should continue on with her. And I said, in my opinion, I don't think you should be involved with her at all. Or if you are, at least, casually dating. Don't agree to any terms like an exclusive relationship or anything like that, because she's just a control freak and all that. So he's writing in about his adventures on the cruise and things like that, and I've been going to go over here because this guy, again, has been decades since he was on the dating scene and hooking up and all that, and it's quite a different world with social media, dating apps, all that type of thing, how the gals are nowadays. So it'll be a good one to go over here for you guys that enjoyed his first story. So he says here, Dear SSM, I'm just back from my cruise. I'm staying with friends tonight and I fly home tomorrow. I have a couple of texts from Lisa, one wishing me Merry Christmas and another asking for any updates on my itinerary. So she's still chasing after you pretty much have backed away. That puts you in the driver's seat. I'm not dealing with this until I get home. I called my kids once during the trip Christmas Day. Other than that, I was off the grid. I've seen you posted my video and I watched it, but I have not gone through the comments as of yet. I'll probably do that on my flight home. I thought your comments were all fair, but my defense is not a kid in a candy store, but more like a thirsty man in the desert. I thought I would update you about my cruise. There were two notable happenings, one of which I found shocking and the other one strange. I wish I'd taken my laptop on board so I could have written this right after it happened, but I was intent on unplugging. Yeah, and you're going to see his adventures on the cruise is, very adventurous. At the beginning of my trip, I stayed with close family friends the night before the cruise. Our families took many vacations together when our kids were all young. They were very close to my wife, Claire. They provided a great home-cooked meal, and we spent the evening laughing and reliving memories of Claire. They both had traveled down to see us when Claire was ill and again to attend her services, but I hadn't seen them in over a year. Seeing them left me feeling lonely and missing my wife. It's only been a year, and you've been with her for 30 years, and you had a great marriage, and that's extremely rare, and I'm so happy that you had that, but I am sorry that things ended the way they did. But it's gonna take you time, man, and expect it to be a roller coaster, but it's good you got good friends that remember her and you can remember the good times, and you'll get there, man. It's gonna take 30 years. You're not gonna get over this overnight. That's normal, but also you have to continue living, and I'm sure Claire would want you to continue on living. And I'm sure Claire wouldn't want you to be with Lisa. When I checked in for the cruise, I had a customer service agent greet me and take me aside to upsell me on an upgraded cabin and suite. This on top of the upgrade my travel agent had gotten for me. I guess the cruise wasn't fully booked. I really didn't need the space, but they combined the upgrade cabin with a package that provided food and drink credits equaling about 90% upgrade price. I ended up with credits of about $100 a day. I figured I would get a better suite and have some nice meals in the restaurants instead of the standard cruise buffets. Bro, you've had quite a year, and you obviously have plenty of dough. You can treat yourself on occasion, so fuck it, get the upgrade. The ship was definitely older, but nicely renovated. My suite was very nice with a beautiful balcony that had 2 chase lounges and a couple of chairs around a small table. I scored a nice bathroom with a separate jetted tub for 2 and a shower. On a per night basis, I probably ended up spending less than I would have for a decent hotel room in any major city for the same period. I've been on cruises, and believe me, what you described there is a lot of space. Anyway, the first couple of days cruising was very uninteresting. I stayed inside quite a bit due to the wind chill on deck. I will say that I do love crossing into the Gulf Stream. Very quickly, the water goes from brown to Caribbean blue, and the temperatures rises about 10 degrees in 15 minutes. But other than constantly warming weather, I was feeling a little depressed and lonely. Not like jumping overboard bad, but very much missing Claire. Again, it's understandable, and it's the holidays, so that tends to get emotions, So by the third night, a few things had happened. I had met a cool bartender named Zeke, who was from New Zealand, and had started working on cruise a couple years ago after his wife had left him following 20 years of marriage. He claimed he was stiffing her an alimony payment by working on international cruise lines. I have a hard time believing that, but who knows? He works in a popular lounge on the upper deck. I also had figured out that there was a large LGBTQ whatever contingent on board. The Alphabet Squad, as Zeke referred to them. I like that name. They were quite the party crowd, very outgoing and loud. Probably a couple hundred of them. The outfits, particularly around the pool, were crazy. There were many families on board with kids, mainly sub-teenager. There were designated safe zones with pools and children's areas where the families were able to hang out without spending too much time worrying about their kids. It seemed like the hangouts for the two groups were not close, thankfully. Over time, I figured out there were a number of groups of young women, ranging from their late 20s to maybe early 40s, on the ship. They seemed to travel in packs of 3 to 8 and were often in groups trying to extract free drinks from the few groups of single men on board, either at the pool, the casino, or in one of the bar areas. Of course, they're trying to get free drinks. That's how it works. On the cruises, they're showing up at night, the bars, and the cocktail lounges and casinos in their short dresses and mini skirts and putting on the charm. And these dumbasses fall for it. I never buy women drinks. Ever. Buy me a drink. I figured my chances of companionship were low. Hey, if you meet a chick, you meet a chick and hook up. If you don't, you don't. You're there on the cruise, relaxing as you earned it. End of story. When guys go into situations like this, on the hunt, looking for gals, they usually end up short-handed. However, guys go there to a place they enjoy having a good time, relaxing, having fun, and not caring either way, being indifferent. That's when they usually flock to them. Remember that. On the fourth night at sea, I ate and relaxed and read in my cabin. Later, I went up to the lounge where Zeke worked to use up some of my credits. It was Christmas Eve, and I was spending it on a cruise ship. I was feeling fairly pathetic, being alone and not with family. Dude, who cares? You obviously booked this cruise for yourself to enjoy it, so enjoy it. Who cares? The lounge was active and there was loud music and dancing. Zeke and I were discussing tennis. A gal came up next to me at the bar and asked Zeke for 5 shots of tequila and beer chasers. And Zeke suggested I give her a hand taking them back to her table. Turns out it was for a group of 3 girls and 2 guys. The girls asked if I was alone and suggested I join them. I agreed and went back to the bar to get my drink. Zeke let me know they were doing serious damage to one of the guy's bar tab and told me he thought the guy would be shocked when the bill came and that he hoped the poor guy got lucky. Poor guy, my ass. This is a grown-ass man, and if he's going to let these gals just order drink after drink, he deserves what he gets. It looked to me that the gals were probably in their low to mid-30s, and the guys were maybe a couple years younger. They met during a walking shopping tour when the ship was in port that day. The girls were wearing Santa hats and red tops. The guys did not seem to mind my intrusion, probably because I had not screwed up the guy-girl ratio. I was clearly the old man of the group, but the guys and I had some things in common, so the conversation was fun and playful. There you go, you're just socializing, having a good time, End of story. The girls were liquored up but not sloppy drunk. This lounge closes at 1 a.m., but they encourage people to head down to continue drinking at the casino, which I believe is open 24/7 except in port. I think that is usually how it is in the casinos on cruise ships. I was back sitting at the bar closing out with Zeke when Bernadette came up to me. I'm calling her Bernadette because she reminded me of Howard's wife on The Big Bang Theory. Please tell me she does not have that high-pitched squeaky voice that Bernadette has. Sweet Jesus. Maybe a little taller but shorter than Claire, who's 5'4", with better lungs. She did not have the stupid Bernadette voice. Okay, good. She asked if I was going to the casino. I told her I was headed back to my cabin, and she asked if I had a balcony. She said the 3 girls were sharing an inside cabin, and she would love to sit outside and have another drink. The rest of the group seemed to have disappeared. I was a little suspicious. She was much younger, and I couldn't quite grasp her looking at me in a romantic way. Either she was into daddies, if you will, let's be honest here, or she was looking for a dude that could buy her shit. So if that was the case, you just better be careful. Again, she was much younger, and I couldn't quite grasp, blah, 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 but nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I had Zeke set us up with a couple of roadies, some flavored vodka craft for her, and a generous pour of my bourbon of choice. We headed down to my cabin. She was shocked. The space, the bathroom, and the balcony all blew her away. Well, if you play your cards right soon, you're going to be blown away. While she was out on my oversized balcony, I gathered everything valuable I had and quietly put it all in the safe. I was a little worried about being drugged, so I kept my drink in sight. Well, if you're that concerned, you shouldn't have her in your room, man. I thought there was a better chance I would get robbed than laid. Precautions taken, we laid in the lounges, enjoying a pleasant night. She was a nice young lady with a pretty good sense of humor. Not very overtly smart or worldly, though. Nothing romantic was happening, and after 30 minutes or so, I told her I was going to turn in. She asked if she could stay in my cabin for the night, and I basically said no as politely as I could. Get your own fucking room. She told me she couldn't sleep in her cabin tonight, and she had nowhere to go. Not your problem. We're not hooking up, so adios. I called BS and said that she had a cabin that she paid for. She said heading back would be embarrassing and kept asking me why she couldn't stay. He says, SSM, this is where I would truly not believe what happened if you hadn't heard some crazy shit on your channels and others like yours. I was standing up trying to get her off my balcony and get her out of my cabin when she just came right out and said she could make it worth my while. No shit. We hadn't even kissed. I was speechless. But she came over, stood on a chair, leaned down, and started kissing me. I went from 0 to ready in about 10 seconds. I'm not at all surprised. Let's just say that I've been in situations where I've just literally been at gatherings, if you will, where alcohol's involved, and chatting up a gal next to me, and the next thing she knows, she looks at me and says, I want to hook up with you. And you girls can figure out the rest. Seriously. Different world now. So I guess I should mention 2 things I decided over the past few months. I was determined not to tell people that I was a widower. I just told people that I was divorced. And I wasn't going to mention the vasectomy. Nobody's business, and I didn't want to hear shooting blanks jokes. However, she insisted I need to use protection and that she was not on the pill. Well, I'm glad she admitted she's not on the pill, and I'm glad she was insisting on protection. That's good. But I didn't have any condoms. Smack! You're going on this cruise thinking you may potentially meet some chicks to hook up with, and you don't have any condoms? Come on, dude. So with regular SCX out of the question, it was mutually agreed that we would partake in the oral arts. I'm a little ashamed to say that her work was over quickly while my work lasted longer. It was over quickly because you had a gal probably 25 years younger than you taking care of you, so, you know, got pretty exciting. I lent her a t-shirt and we crashed. I woke up early as always before 6 o'clock in the morning. It was Christmas morning. I headed out to the buffet that opened early to get a couple of coffees, some orange juice, and some croissants and pastries, and headed back to the cabin with a full tray. While heading to breakfast, I admit running by the little shop on board to see if I can get some more condoms. Or get condoms. He says, rats, not open yet. She was still asleep when I got back, but woke up to the smell of coffee. We actually had a pleasant breakfast on the balcony, and I got a little more of her story. I'd be like, whatever, just get out of here. I don't have any condoms, go. Her mom and dad divorced when she was young, and they were both spending Christmas with others. She claimed to be 31, but I'm guessing she was closer to 35, even though she looked very young. She's a marketing pro in Cincinnati, proud of her job, recently out of a long-term relationship, and made a last-minute decision for a cheap cruise and her 2 friends. I've heard that song and dance before. She could have a boyfriend who thinks that they're still in a relationship back home. You never know. She seemed to have no shame or regret over the previous evening. Well, that ought to tell you something. This chick is friends with benefits, hookup material, nothing else. Don't even think about it. She apologized about not doing everything with me the night before, and I assured her it was okay, but told her playfully that she could use a shave. She did have a little stubble in her legs, and I was prepared to tell her that it was all as what I was talking about. But she took the comment in a playful manner as it was intended. Then, in a pouting tone, asked me if she could use my tub before she left, and I said sure. We chatted a while longer, and she asked me how old I was, and then guessed I was 50 years old. I suspect she was trying to be nice. I told her I was a couple of years older than that and asked her if I was the oldest guy she'd been with. She told me she had a quick fling with an older guy at work. He was 55. I skipped telling her, and she has set a new record. Yeah, she likes daddies. He said his mom and dad got divorced, so there's probably some issues there. Hey, your benefit. Just make sure she didn't steal anything from you. I spent 20 minutes watching her in the tub, and it turns out many things happened to my razor. I may bronze it. We then spent 5 minutes showering together. Okay, I get the point. In an awkwardly small shower. Happily, she looked almost exactly the same as she had after she had scrubbed off her makeup, except she had more freckles. We then repeated last night's performances in the cabin, except sober, with me lasting longer, and her bald as a baby's bottom. Lots of firsts for me. I don't have a lot to compare to, but she was way better than what she was doing to me than anyone I had ever been with by far. Did I mention she looked young? Yup. Hey, you earned this, my man. After a quick shower, she left me my t-shirt and her shorts to join her friends before we made port. We agreed this was a one-time thing. I can't believe SCX could be any more transactional without cash being paid. Welcome to the 2020s, amigo. I really hadn't expected anything romantic on this cruise and was a little blown away by what happened. Well, you were blown away. Twice. Romantic probably wasn't the right word, though. I have to admit that I hadn't even thought about Lisa the previous night, much less the rule of monogamy. You guys, for all intents and purposes, broke up. Let's be honest here. And she knows it. Maybe slapped at me, maybe not. I don't know. I have to say, I was thinking much more about Claire and my kids on the cruise, not Lisa. At some point, though, the thought crossed my mind that Bernadette was not much older than my oldest daughter. That was a bit disturbing. I pray I raised my daughters better than that. I pray too, man, but, I'm not even going to touch that one. I saw Bernadette around a couple times during the rest of the cruise, and we just nodded hello. She was always with her squad and often with some boys hanging around. I have expected her to show up in need of a bed again, but that didn't happen. I'm sure those boys weren't getting the kind of action you got. Nothing much happened for the next few days except pretty good weather and a couple of great meals. So if I recall, this guy went on a 2-week cruise, which sounds awesome, by the way. I struck up a couple of conversations with women at the pool and at the casino. They were either attached or nice but uninterested. A little rain here and there, but nothing that lasted too long. I met a few people, including 2 guys from New York City, Jesse and Pierre, who were partners and with the Alphabet Squad. Zeke introduced us while we were at the bar. They were a bit exhausted by the scene, and they were taking time away from the rest of their group. They suggested I take a bus tour around St. Thomas with them. St. Thomas. I lived on and off St. Thomas for a few years, many, many moons ago. Quite a different world down in the Caribbean. When we met up for the tour, they were with a couple of their friends from the community. They were mostly normal and pleasant. Among the people I met was Ellen. I will explain this alias in a moment. She was apparently on the cruise alone. I don't know why, but the boys had taken her under their wing to keep her company. She was tall and wearing a baggy button-down shirt, shorts, and a big straw hat. She laughed easily and had a quick sense of humor. Hey man, you're making friends, you're socializing, you're having a good time with people of all walks of life, so, hey, whatever. The next morning, there was an early rush at breakfast because we were pulling into Tortola and people were headed out for excursions. I was alone at the table and Ellen saw me and asked if I would share. I was planning to stay on the ship while in port for a little peace and quiet while everyone was away. Ellen said she loved Tortola, was planning to go to the shopping district and spend some money. She asked if I wanted to come along and be her pack mule. I told her that acting like my ex-wife would get her nowhere, but agreed to tag along, and she promised to spend her own money and not mine. It didn't take long to figure out Ellen had an interesting background. It turns out she has an ex-husband, 2 kids, and a current female partner. Okay? She didn't explain much while shopping. But most of what she bought was for herself and her kids, who were in high school. Based on her kids' age, I'm guessing Ellen is 38 to 40 years old. I treated her to an early lunch in town, the least I could do since she allowed me to carry her bags all over the shopping district. Smack, smack. What the hell, dude? You don't be carrying her shit around like that. She can carry her own goddamn stuff. If you're out hanging out with somebody you get along with, fine. What the hell? Don't be that guy. You guys been out at the mall or anywhere and you see that boyfriend or husband carrying all his wife's shit around? Oh my God. We then headed back to the ship, and she suggested we relax at the pool before everyone came back on board. She looked in a bathing suit, slim but curvy. I saw the hint of one small tattoo peeking out around her hip. But other than that, it all looked pretty good. She was a former swimmer and did a few laps with the ease of a dolphin. Well, those cruise ships are pretty small pools, so she can't do very big laps, especially with people in there. I took off an hour at the pool and I was leaving, asked if she wanted to have a nice meal at the steakhouse on board. I was way behind using my food and drink credits. She took the opportunity to dress to impress at dinner. Very slinky, low cut, and whatever. I had seen her casual, but with her makeup, she was stunning. At dinner, I got more of her story. Married in her early 20s, 2 quick kids, full-time mom until she went back to work part-time when the kids finished elementary school. Part-time HR worker in the police department. Met a female cop, was bored with the husband, divorced him, and has been with the cop and full-time at the police department for the last 2 years. She showed me a photo of her partner at the policeman's ball. Her partner is a spitting image of Ellen, as in Ellen DeGeneres. Oh, that's nasty. I don't know if I should use her name. Oh well, very butch looking. The roles in the relationship are clear. So in other words, this gal you're with is the feminine one in that relationship. Therefore, looks good. Long hair, actually looks like a chick. Meanwhile, the gal she's with is the masculine one looking like a butch Ellen. It says here, they had a knockdown, drag-out fight about 2 days before the cruise, and her partner told her to go without her and that she had a last-minute project at work. She's pretty unsure about where her relationship stands and thinks her partner may be cheating. Clearly trouble in paradise. She came on the trip to do some thinking. I had no thoughts or opinions on the matter. By the way, this has been my standard response to my wife and daughters over the years. On the cruise, I think the alphabet crew was a little much for Ellen, as she said that it was more her partner's crowd than hers. Well, because obviously this gal here is bi. She likes men and women. And that ain't relationship material, but, well, you can have fun with her. Meanwhile, her gal, who looks like Ellen, obviously is totally in the alphabet soup. After dinner, we took a walk around the ship, spent an hour or so in the casino, and I dropped her off at her cabin, which was apparently ocean-facing but without a balcony. I mention this because on a cruise ship, social status is measured by your cabin. Of course. She kissed me on the cheek and thanked me for dinner, and then after a second thought, gave me a slightly more passionate goodnight kiss. My first lesbian kiss. Hey, there you go. Notch on your belt. The next morning, on the way back for breakfast, I decided to pick up some condoms. I really didn't think I would get a chance to use them, but on the slim chance something happened with Ellen, I figured she probably wasn't on the pill because, well, she is currently is not straight. Bro, you're going to be the guy that gets to nail a not straight gal. Ellen found me mid-afternoon having a beer and chatting with Zeke and a guy named Alex from Chicago. Alex and I were going to play poker in the casino, so I suggested Ellen come down to the casino after dinner and find me and we can grab some drinks. I should not have let Alex talk me into poker. I hit my loss limit of $500 in 90 minutes. Left the casino and grabbed dinner by myself. And that is why I don't gamble. Yeah, I'm sure you got people that are very, very good at poker just going on those cruise ships hustling. I found Ellen around 9 o'clock hunting for me in the casino and asked if she wanted to sit on my balcony and have drinks. She had about the same reaction to my cabin as Bernadette did. Conversation with Ellen was very comfortable. She was happy to talk about her life, her partner, and her sexuality. He's probably like, oh God. She told great lesbian jokes. I just let her talk about her messed up relationships. Normally this would be boring, but her love life and S-word confusion was really entertaining. Hey, if you got entertainment out of it, so be it. I got her to talk about breaking the news of her partner to both her husband and her kids. A long story, but very drama-filled and entertaining. Sounds like the husband handled it well, keeping things cordial but firmly maintaining custody of the kids and sending her away. So he got custody of the kids. I guess she was cheating on him. So this gal is not the best person. And it sounds like her relationship with her Ellen girlfriend is on the rocks too. This chick is someone that you can obviously, just like Bernadette, fool around with, but be careful, and you never have anything to do with afterwards. At some point, I asked her what she missed most about her ex-husband, or maybe just being with a guy. She said the little things. She said her husband used to massage her feet and legs on their bed. He had strong hands, it felt good, and she really missed it. Yeah, whatever. So I did that for her, and she ended up staying the night. She cried some, like I said, confused. SSM, I did actually think about whether I was messing with a taken woman. It was a short second where I tried to find some feelings of guilt. Nope, nothing. Also, first time condom usage for a guy who hasn't used one in forever. And a formerly heterosexual married lesbian gal was a little awkward at first, just saying. Dude, you nailed a lesbian, so okay. And a pretty one. You a notch in your belt. And well, who knows what her story really is true, and probably is like what happens on the cruise stays on the cruise, and then there's back to the whole Lisa thing. Yeah, it seems like you broke up, but that you didn't. But it would be one thing if you were actually in a real relationship, and then this gal too. But whatever. The next night we went to a New Year's Eve party, and I blew most of my remaining credits. I think she wore her New Year's Eve dress with me the first night at the steakhouse, and what she wore at the party wasn't as formal but extremely sexy. Not trashy at all, though. I'm thinking her partner must love to show her off to people. Maybe to male cops. In the few photos I saw them together, she was dressed very sexy. So because her girlfriend is very, very, very butch, Ellen-like, she is obviously on the extreme end of feminine. That's how it works. I've seen couples. I had a personal training client years ago who, short hair, this is Massachusetts, so what do you expect? Short hair, literally wore a guy's suit to work, and I would train her in boxing. And we would do certain weightlifting. She like doing squats and everything, and she was a tough chick. And she showed me a picture of her wife, and it was like the wife was long blonde hair, feminist can be. You one extreme to the other here. It was amazing. And this gal, we got along just fine, but holy crap, she was like a dude. Anyhow, we slept in late again on the 1st, yesterday, and she had a relaxing day and said the weather had turned chilly outside. SCX with Ellen was fun, but conventional. It was sort of expecting something different. By yesterday afternoon, I was a little tired of listening to her yammer on about her confused life. Well, let's be honest, the only reason you were listening to that crap because you were dying to nail a gal like that. Lots of mood swings and an occasional cry. I told her I had some onboard shopping I wanted to do for my kids. We said our goodbyes and spent the night in our own cabins. We got into port early this morning, 2 a.m., and there's lots of logistics regarding luggage and disembarking. It takes like 10 fucking hours to get off a cruise ship. It's crazy. But if you can if you have a certain upgrade, you're in a certain class, you can get off quicker. She lives in Jersey, far away from me, and that is good. Yes, no contact with her, dude. It was a nice encounter, but certainly not a mess I wanted to insert myself into. Well, you were already busy inserting yourself into her, just a different type of mess. She probably has enough information to track me down if she tries to, but I made it clear we should just leave it on this shit. Like Lisa, I would love to hear her ex-husband's story. She made it clear he didn't mistreat her. Why would she screw up what seems like a perfectly good family? As Spock would say, fascinating. Well, this chick sounds like a whole lot of turmoil that you don't need in your life, but you had your fun with her, and who knows what she's really her situation is. Probably the likelihood is just simply she just wasn't into dudes anymore. Or at least mostly. It says, so SSM, I'm feeling a little better about my possible batting average right now. Maybe better than 0.75. However, I don't really think it's me. It may just be really bad pitching. It seems like there are many unattached women out there, and a new morality that is difficult to comprehend after coming out of a 30-year-old marriage. Bro, it is a whole different world out there now. That's why I call it Sodom Gomorrah 2.0. I think I'm going to slow down a bit and take things easy. I feel like spending some time trying to find a new work project. I suspect your comments about Lisa are probably accurate. But on the other hand, if I view her as a high-spirited stallion, it may be fun trying to break her. Well, good luck. if I continue seeing her, we'll probably need to have a new rules discussion or maybe no rules. Anyway, I'm looking forward to reading the comments and see if there's any good ideas from your crew. I hope so. If anything interesting happens after I get home, I will let you know. Well, do tell. I mean, while this isn't updates on your situation with Lisa, it's interesting to hear about your adventures in the cruise, given that you're now on the market after 30 years. And you had fun. And the most important thing, in my opinion, is you got away. And I know that was hard over the holidays. You got away, you talked to people. Your sole purpose of going on the cruise wasn't to get some pussy. It was just to go on and cruise, something you enjoy, have fun, drinks, good food, poker, socialize, meet people. That's what you did. And you got a little action along the way. And you got a notch in your belt for doing a gal that, well, is into girls. I'm going to watch what I say here, because any certain keywords YouTube goes nuts about. So that's that. Live your life, have a good time, enjoy yourself, and you're just going to get better at this every day. As for Lisa, I stand by what I said in the previous video, that I would not be in any kind of serious relationship with her alone at all. And like I said, you can have a talk with her. You can either say pretty much, hey, you know what, just want to do something, just not interested in anything serious, something casual, and she'll probably throw a tantrum, and then you won't hear from her. Or she'll throw a tantrum and you won't hear from her for a little while, and then she'll come back and she'll like the challenge of trying to get you to submit like you did temporarily in the beginning. But I'm telling you right now, there's going to be drama with that one. I'm telling you that right now, because she's a control freak, just like I said in the previous video, and just be aware of that. But you should not be held down to any chick right now. You have the power, my friend. You have the power in relationships. These gals want relationships. You can do whatever you want, okay? You do well. You've done well for yourself. You've got money. You obviously take care of yourself. You obviously can handle yourself pretty well in social settings. So you got it made. You got all the freaking power. So use it and enjoy it. But remember, they come dead last. What comes first is you. What you want, what you need. And things, your hobbies, your interests, your children, your grandchild coming up soon, your friends. All those things, that comes first. An occasional piece of ass, that comes dead last. And that's all I have to say about that. So good job, sir. I'm glad you're doing well. And things will get better and better over time. And remember, it will be a roller coaster. You're going to have days that you're moving on. And other days, you're going to be missing your wife. But you have to move on. And it sounds like you're doing that. So good job. All right, guys. That's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.